In this video, we are going to talk about everything you need to know about Riesling. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Riesling wines are forms of white wine that are famous for the sour and sweet flavors. In addition to the piercing acidity that they possess, the terroir imparts flavors that are powerfully reflected in the wines. And the conditions under which the grapes are grown have a considerable influence on the grapes themselves. Both of these factors contribute to the overall flavor of the wine. In spite of the fact that many people consider Riesling to be a lightweight wine, there are a number of exceptional examples that demonstrate how complex and full-bodied Rieslings can be. Riesling wines. There is no other wine in the world that can compare to a Riesling. Grapes that are used to make white wine thrive in cool climates and slate-based soil, both of which are prevalent in Germany and Alsace. The best examples of Riesling have a strong acidity, with flavors reminiscent of green apple, melon, apricot, mineral, and spice. Depending on how late in the year viticulturists harvest the grapes, Riesling may range from being fruity and dry to being sweet and spicy. Both of these characteristics are influenced by the wine's acidity. As a result of the presence of acidity, many Riesling wines are made in the style of honeyed dessert wines, which prevent them from becoming too sweet. The combination of sugar, fruit, acid, and minerals gives Riesling wines their very complex flavors, which set them apart from many other white wine varieties. Riesling wines are consistently ranked among the best white wines. Unlike many white varietals, Riesling is not oak-aged. This would put a damper on its crystal pure appearance. History of Riesling. There is no way to refute the assertion that Riesling grapes were first cultivated in Germany. More precisely in the Alsace area that shares a border with France several centuries ago. The parent of Riesling grapes is the same one that ultimately gave rise to Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc, amongst other varieties. The wine rose to prominence among the German nobles quite rapidly, and they began hoarding it in large amounts and even transporting it along with them on military expeditions. They came to the conclusion that Riesling is distinct from the majority of white wines, in that it improves with age as a result of the vast stockpiling that they had done. Because of the high acidity level of the wine, some Rieslings may be enjoyed after decades, in contrast to the majority of white wines, which are often consumed while they are still young. This is provided, of course, that the wine was kept in the appropriate circumstances. Where Riesling is grown. Riesling is produced almost exclusively in Germany, more specifically in the Rhine area of that nation. Alsace is a region in France and Germany that is famous for producing Riesling wines of excellent quality. Alsace is situated on the border between France and Germany. Although there are other examples of Riesling wines made in other regions of the world, many of them are not nearly as outstanding as the wines that are produced in Germany. Germany is known for producing some of the world's best Riesling wines. Rieslings that are produced in places that are too warm may develop traits like petroleum, whilst Rieslings that are grown in temperatures that are cool maintain their crisp acidity and sweetness throughout the growing process. The temperature, soil, and terrain of Germany are ideal conditions for the production of Riesling grapes, which produce wines that are both flavorful and nuanced. Australia, Canada, the United States, Oregon, and Washington are among the other countries and locations in addition to Germany and France that are known for their Riesling production. Types of Riesling. Riesling is often drank on its own, as opposed to being blended with other kinds of wine, as a result of the fact that it is capable of standing on its own. Riesling wines are further subdivided into categories based on the time of year in which the grapes were picked by the winemakers, as well as the amount of Brix, or sugar, in the wines that was derived from the grape's own naturally occurring sugars. These two factors are taken into consideration when classifying Riesling wines. When determining how Riesling wines should be categorized, these two aspects are taken into account. Although this form of classification is used in Germany to a far larger degree than in any other nation, other countries' winemakers use ways of manufacturing wine and classifications that are quite similar to what is done in Germany. Deutscher Wein and Amp, Deutscher Landwein, table wine. These wines are typically dry and high in acidity, although their levels of sweetness may vary quite a bit. Table wines account for the vast majority of their sales in Germany. Qualitätswein. These wines are typically dry and acidic, although their levels of sweetness may vary quite a bit. Table wines are the most common use for them in Germany. Eiswein, ice wine. These wines are made from grapes that were harvested after the frost. And the processing happens while the grapes are still frozen. The grapes were gathered after the frost. Eisweins, which are considered to be dessert wines, are renowned for their remarkable harmony of purity, concentration, sweetness, and acidity, which ranks them among the very best dessert wines that can be made anywhere in the world. Storing and serving. If there is a significant amount of sugar left over after fermentation, Riesling may be aged. High brix Rieslings have the ability to mature for decades, but they can taste great while they are young. Dry Rieslings should be consumed within a few years after bottling at the very most. Riesling should be kept between temperatures of 50 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. In a location with minimal light and no vibrations, and away from temperature swings that are too dramatic. Both the grape and the wine benefit from being stored at cool temperatures for extended periods of time. Rieslings are best enjoyed cold, at a temperature of around 43 degrees Fahrenheit. The slate that makes up the German soil has a distinct mineral flavor that is brought out by this temperature. The dry versions of the wines are excellent complements to fish, shellfish, and chicken, and the wines in general are quite adaptable. The sweeter variants are best enjoyed on their own, with aged cheeses, or as a dessert accompaniment with fruit. Glassware. Riesling is often served in a white wine glass. However, there are numerous other types of glasses that are referred to as Riesling glasses, each with its own distinct appearance. The use of a bowl that is shallow, broad, and has a large aperture is recommended by a number of different sources as the method that is best suited to showcasing the potent aromas of a traditional German Riesling. This is because, according to these sources, this configuration of the bowl allows for the most airflow. If you do not have a glass that has a bowl that is broad and relatively tall, you may use a glass that has a bowl that is medium-high and narrow in its place. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.